You're listening to The Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell. Sponsored by Absolute Mortgage, a division of Pinnacle Capital Mortgage Corporation. Now, in the studio, local mortgage and finance expert, Tina Mitchell.
Welcome back to the Money Hour with your host and mortgage expert, Tina Mitchell, right here on 1150 AM KKNW, the Saturday, July 9th show. I'm here to empower our community, providing you with opportunities and solutions when it comes to your money. If you're hearing my show at a different time or day, you are listening to a rebroadcast. You can call the show at 1-855-400-1150. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150 or online at themoneyhour.com to discuss anything regarding your finances or to get connected with the guest I have in studio as well. And right now I'm having a conversation with Sally Fox with Engaging Presence. Sally, thank you so much for joining me in studio.
You're welcome, Tina. I'm delighted to be here.
And very excited about my conversation with Sally today. And before we get into that, a little background about Sally. Sally has been a coach and consultant who has coached hundreds of professionals to use stories to grow their business and inspire others to take action. Storytelling is a powerful tool in business that helps you connect and engage more effectively with others. Whether you're a small business owner, a team manager, a C-suite executive, or an independent professional, you know that part of the success depends on motivating others. Sally's helps you develop stories that will make your message stick. Now, she has delivered business storytelling workshops locally and internationally. She's a professional speaker who can show you how to bring power and pizzazz to your presentations. Sally holds a doctorate in leadership development and an MBA and has brought her intuitive bottom line approach to producing results for her clients for over 20 years. She has recently chosen to be part of a selective Forbes Coaching Council. Check her out at www.engagingpresence.com and sign up for her weekly column or create leadership and productivity. Or listen to a Virtual Present podcast on iTunes. You can also find her at www.virtualpresence.com and hear interview leaders who are shaping their stories that are shaping their world. And I'm a big believer in stories as well, Sally, so much so that my book's going to be out this month. So
fantastic.
I know. I can't wait to
goodness.
have you take a look at it and give me some of your critique. But anyways, let's get back to the listeners here. So today is all about storytelling and how storytelling can help grow your business. And I like in the bio, it's really about how do you connect with people on an emotional level. And that's how we get people to take action that we know that they should be taking. That's why we're selling or doing the business that we're doing, because it's right for the customers that we're trying to attract. So why is storytelling a skill that every business leader needs to have?
Well, you know, as a businesswoman, Tina, that getting people's attention and really having them feel like what you're offering is something they need is at the core of business. Mm-hmm. It's not enough just to know, but you want people to engage. And story is your best vehicle for helping people to engage. You know, like get out beyond the words and the blah, 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 and the things that everybody is saying that can sometimes sound the same.
Yes.
But story lets you share your unique message and relate it to what your customers need.
So, Sally, where can having a great story be useful?
Ooh, all over the place.
I knew you were going to answer that.
Let me give you a few examples.
Okay.
Today in the business marketplace, first place people will usually go to check you out is LinkedIn. Mm-hmm. Now, LinkedIn isn't just your resume. It's a place where you begin to put your story. You don't want your LinkedIn profile to be boring. Mm-hmm. You want a bit of you to pop out the moment somebody clicks on you in LinkedIn. So that's number one. And then maybe they'll go onto your website and they see all the great services that you offer, but then they ask, who are you? Mm-hmm. And not just you like your degrees and your years of experience. That's all good, but they want to feel, is this somebody I want to deal with?
Sure.
So there you... And then the other part, of course, you know, I know, Tina, you go out in the community and you make presentations. And so I can just show you, you know, the world of difference there is between someone who makes a presentation loaded with great stories that give examples and really bring the subject matter to life, and someone who gives a presentation with good information, mm-hmm. but no stories to make it sparkle.
Yeah, so they're not getting that action. So can you share with my listeners, Sally, let's go over some examples of businesses that are doing a great job using story.
Well, the one place that I'd send people right away is to Airbnb. And it's a great example on different levels. Because when they went into business, if they had just started out and said, hey, guys, we're a cheap alternative to a hotel, which was probably what a lot of people were saying about them, you know, but they were also really kind of suspicious, you know, what's this Airbnb? So the first thing that they did was that they set this really powerful framework for their stories. And they said, we're not going to compete with hotels. We're not a cheap alternative. We are a lifestyle resource that's bringing the world to thousands of people. So they created that campaign about, you know, how you could belong anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
Great campaign. So they set up this framework for their stories. And then when you go on their site, you find these amazing videos of both the host families and the customers. So you have lots of stories of delight that take you to interesting parts of the world. And my gosh, you get engaged. You want to start traveling. You want to start experiencing the world. And you get what Airbnb is all about.
Makes total sense. Now, you share leaders who tell stories of have been willing to be more personal with their audience. Is that a risk in business to get too much on the personal side? Or is that really what you want to do when sharing your story?
Well, it depends on what we mean by personal. Because, in fact, when you get up in front of a crowd, they're going to be making a lot of personal assessments of you. I, for myself, I don't think that you can ever totally separate the personal out. But a lot of my leadership clients get a little squeamish because they associate personal and private. And I'm not talking private. I am also saying you can just give a little bit of who you are. You can. It doesn't have to be very big, but it's just enough to give people that sense. And I tell you, because I used to work with colonels in the U.S. Army, they were so good at always telling some little story about how they had worked with the troops, that made them come alive, that made them accessible, that let you know what they cared about. And nobody went around and said, oh, my gosh, that was so personal. They shouldn't have done that. Instead, people went up and talked to them like they were real human beings.
Okay. So what are the key skills that the business storyteller needs to have?
Well, this one may be surprising.
Okay.
But the absolute key skill that a business storyteller needs to have is listening. You know, the first part is when you're a storyteller, you start listening to other stories and other people's stories. And you know, because you do sales, that you're always listening to your customer.
Yes.
So you're listening because you actually want to pull out your customer stories. And then when you're telling a story, you're also listening because a story isn't like reading a speech. A story is like a living interaction. So you want to be able to be there completely tuned in with your customer, kind of getting a sense, is this going over? Can I see it in their eyes? How am I doing? Are we relating? And because a story is a living thing, you adapt as you go.
Sure.
So your ability to listen, a storyteller without listening isn't a storyteller.
Okay, so let's say one of my listeners is an entrepreneur working for themselves, and how can they use their story to promote themselves and their business? Great
question. You know, first they'll know what let's say the 3 services that they're offering are, and they also know what the skills and talents that they bring in and what's absolutely distinctive about them.
Okay.
So instead of just having that be words, every time there's an opportunity to bring a story in, I'm not talking about long stories. You can tell a story in under 30 seconds. But every time there's an opportunity to share with people how this really works, or what an experience of a delighted client who worked with your service was all about. And you start sharing the stories of the customers and clients who came to you and how they were able to create miracles in their lives after working with you, you'll get people's attention because it's real, because they know it's not you just saying more, oh, look at me, I'm doing these great things. You're talking about customers and results.
Yes.
And you're doing it through story, and that's what gets people's attention.
Yeah. And I know you share this a lot with your clients, and I want you to share with my listener because I'm such a big believer in this. We're talking about the stories that you're telling your customer, how to connect with them on a deeper level so you can help them engage and to take that next step in your business, but also the stories that you're telling yourself, what you're telling yourself about how your business looks, how your money looks, how your family dynamic. How are you helping your clients to change the story that they're telling themselves so they can get to the level of success that they want for themselves?
Thank you for asking that question, because that really takes you right into the heart of the work. And I know that you really work with people around having a really positive attitude.
Mm-hmm.
So in business, there are a lot of things that are challenging. And so when we hit a challenge or we go through a spell where we're not producing the results the way we want to, we get to look at what's the story about that. Is the story, oh my God, I'm a failure, it's not working, I'm not as good as these other people? Or is the story something like, I'm on my way, and to prove it, I have all these examples of what I'm doing. And you know what? With every example that doesn't work so well, I have learned a huge amount that's just making me even more competent as a professional. And you'll actually get a sense of my determination and my endeavor by hearing how I met my challenges. So by having that mindset of, I am creating this story, I can transform things that other people might say, whoa, that was a really difficult episode, or that might have been a real setback. You have transformed it into something that really supports you and your business.
Yeah. And, I hear people say, someone's one up on me. I hate it when I hear that because nobody's one up on anybody. You're one up on yourself. That's it. We're in competition with ourselves and no one else. So, and it really starts from that self-talk and that storytelling. And that's how you can really be believable to your clients as well. And really, because you can't, no matter how good of a story you have, if you're not communicating with the emotion behind it, and you believe in that story that you're telling and the confidence with it, it's not going to matter anyways. So before we wrap things up here, Sally, what would be the biggest advice that you would give to my clients to really be able to connect? I want to give a resource before we drop off, but I want to have a call to action here for clients to be thinking about in that step to really engage in storytelling and how it's going to change their business.
Well, two things I'm going to suggest. One is to look at everything that they're offering and everything that they say that they can do and they're great at, and make sure they have a killer story behind it.
Okay.
Because we don't want just words. We want to have the story that makes us feel something. And then the second thing, which incidentally will relate to what I do, to really work that story, you need to have a listener. And it's really useful to have a story coach, because it's hard to hear ourselves. It's hard to hear the magic sometimes that exists in our own stories. Mm-hmm. So you can work with me as a coach or a story coach to really capture the things in your story that will make it pop, that will make it come alive, and learn how to present it and share it in a way that's really compelling.
Got it. Wonderful. So, Sally, we give some resources for my listeners. Where can they go to learn more and get connected with you?
Thanks for asking. My website, www.engagingpresence.com. I have some great story resources. I have a blog that people should sign up for because there's all sorts of information I'm putting out every week. There's an ebook that they can get when they sign up for the sign up for the blog, and as a special offer to guests of this show, they can email me directly, and I will give them a 30-minute complimentary consultation so we can look at the story that they're sharing and see if there's a way to make it even more engaging.
Thank you so much, Sally. So, Sally, go ahead and give them the email address, your website one more time, so they've got that.
My email is sally@engagingpresence, all one word, .com, and my website is www.engagingpresence.com.
Perfect. And for my regular listeners, you know the website, www.themoneyhour.com. You can get Sally's information there as well. Sally, thank you so much for joining me again in studio. It's always a pleasure talking with you, and excited to share more about storytelling in the near future.
It's always a delight to talk to you, Tina. Thank you so much for inviting me.
You're welcome. This is your host and mortgage expert, Tina Mitchell, signing off for the day, but I'll be here same place, same time next weekend, right here at 1150 AM KKNW. Enjoy the rest of your week, everyone.